So we'll put it right where you were looking. So my name's Jeff.
My name's Dave.
Dave, okay. And so you've had 30 seconds to think about it? What do you think happens after this life? Hopefully you've thought about it other times too, but
I've thought about it other times too, but I really don't think anything happens. I think it just ends.
Okay.
And I feel pretty
like
good about
lights out and
lights
end
out,
of show.
like into the abyss of eternal darkness or light, whatever, which is the same thing. And
so does Dave as we know him cease to exist when the body dies? And
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think the body dies and whatever is considered consciousness or soul or whatever, all kinds of, it's just evaporating, because I think the soul or energy or whatever, there's all kinds of beliefs have their own way of thinking about this, right?
Yeah.
Like that consciousness, soul, or whatever, internal energy or whatever. There's infinite versions of it, and I think that's fueled by energy of some sorts generated by the body. So if the body dies, the soul dies.
Yeah. So it's a physical thing.
Yes.
Our soul, even our consciousness, right?
Yes.
So did you always believe that, or did you have any kind of a religious upbringing?
Well, I grew up Roman Catholic with my family, but I don't know. I just started asking questions, and I read the Bible, and and I was like, okay. I actually wrote a thesis on the Bible, questioning,
oh wow,
critically,
in college then.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, my conclusion of it all was, it's a pretty good book.
Yeah.
But it, also in context of when it was written, for the people that it was written for. I think it's a fantastic guideline for people that are in distress and have no way out, for large groups of people, the peoples, I guess. So that's applicable. It still is, I guess. It's definitely a viable option.
Yeah.
To go look for answers in the Bible. But
now, you wrote a thesis. Was are you talking about for just an English class, or a major I don't know, doctoral or master's level?
No, I studied theology actually.
Wow.
For 2 semesters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you believe in God at one time then, would you say? Or?
I don't think, even as a child thinking back, I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I think I was intrigued by thinking about a higher power of some sorts.
Okay.
But then it, I live extremely, or maybe not that extreme, but I'm trying to live a very conscious life, right? So, and what I mean by that is, I'm in charge of what I'm doing. If I put my foot down here, it's going to stay there. So I'm responsible for my actions, and I was just not trying to ask a higher power for either forgiveness or anything connected to it.
Just being responsible for yourself.
Right. I'm no, this is me. If I'm going, it's my own doing, and I like to be in charge of my own life.
Yeah. Now, did you go to a Catholic university school?
I did not. I went to just public school first,
I guess.
And then I studied theology in the university in Innsbruck in Austria.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that would be a government institution?
That is a government, it's open to the public.
Are you Austrian?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, born and raised.
I didn't detect an accent. Maybe I should have.
I've been here for 10 years now. So.
Okay. So in Austria, never been there. Is it, I guess I don't even know if they have theology degrees at public universities in the United States.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Yeah. So when you took that, were you thinking about being in religion somehow, or?
Yes and no. I was very interested in all kinds of religions.
And
what do they have in common? Like, how can we talk about this? How could I do research in that?
Yeah.
Because I'm very much interested in religion in itself and the construct of it.
Yeah.
But after 2 semesters, I was like, I'm going to go to audio engineering.
Okay.
I was
going to ask, that was my next question. What did you go from there to do? Yeah.
So yeah, I got my degree in audio engineering and did that for a long time and went into different things. But it's still something that I'm very much interested in, like how do people believe and why do they believe?
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm very curious about. And so it's funny that you had like picked out me.
I mean,
and,
I have a real interest in human nature.
Yes.
Sounds like you do too.
Yes.
For me, it's because I have this gospel message,
Yes.
that has changed my life, and I like to be able to better communicate it with people.
Yeah, I can see that.
What would you say is your motivation, though? You don't have that.
I'm interested in people
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
I love being with people. I love talking to people. I really enjoy the energy that gets exchanged with people,
Yeah.
which is very annoying because right now I work from home.
Yeah.
I manage a large team of people, and I'm not getting to meet any of them.
Yeah.
It's just like very annoying because I'm like, I like that human interaction, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what fascinates me, and I think religion is just like or faith or belief or whatever you want to call it is just the next step of that, right? It's like, okay, now we have established that we all exist
Yeah.
somehow,
Yeah.
and then the first question of somebody that's like at home somehow is like, so where do we come from? Where are we going, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like religion or faith is just the next logical step, I think.
Yeah.
So, or the next question.
Well, I wanna ask you this. Maybe you don't want to do this, but
Okay.
usually when I get in these conversations, I try to ask people good questions.
Yeah.
And maybe help them to for a lot of times I feel like people are being asked questions that they never get before or never get in the halls of a grocery store or wherever, and or oftentimes they wouldn't talk about these things with someone that they knew well because their relationship, like they're inevitably going to disagree about something, and then the relationship. So I, as a stranger, have the advantage of being able to talk to people about things that are not threatening because I'm just a stranger. Who am I, right?
Right, and then you're just going to walk away.
But I will say this: I am a, I guess you'd say, a conservative Christian.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if instead of me asking you questions, because I have a bunch of questions, but would you have any questions for me as someone who is a conservative Christian who won't be offended by anything you ask me? Because I think I'm not going to say I've been asked everything, but
Yeah, a lot of things. What's your story? Like, I'm more interested in that right now, but maybe there comes a question out of that.
My story?
Yeah.
Like, how did I come to become a Christian, or just
that too? Like, or
like, what's my background?
Yeah, what's your?
I'll tell
let's
you.
start
So
with
right now I'm a high school teacher.
Okay.
This is something I do go to a church in the neighborhood. I do have an intense interest in wanting to share the gospel, but at the same time, in a way, like I want to be able to relate to people and hear their story,
Right.
and in the process, I'm learning a lot.
Right.
And I'm also wanting, the video thing is, like I'm wanting to show other people in church that you don't have to be scared about talking about your religion, in your beliefs in public, that most people, as long as they have a little time to talk, that's why my first question is, do you have 5 or 10 minutes?
Yeah.
As long as people have a little time to talk, it's really not threatening to do this sort of thing. And
That's
so I'm
true.
trying to set a good example, And
That's true.
So I'm the video is for people, to see that it's not as hard as we make it out to be. A lot of Christians actually believe, like going into this, when I first started, I actually thought I'd probably get punched in the face. I probably
That
thought
is a viable option in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like, for real. This
Yeah,
is like,
I actually thought people would, I would be offending people, but usually
oh, I'm sorry.
if I'm offending people, I just, I say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother you, whatever, have a great day, and no problem,
That's it.
and that very rarely even that happens, so.
Yeah.
So it's not. So people are not the enemy,
No, they're not.
People are not as threatening as they seem to be. A lot of times, when I see people, like like in my mind, I've already got like, think I have people figured out that I've not talked to.
Yeah.
And then when I talk to them, they're like so friendly. It's like, you know, like.
Yeah, it usually is. Like,
so I'm trying to show that, this is not rocket science. It's not it's something that everyone can do. And as Christians, I don't know if you know, but we are called by our Lord Jesus to, you know, to go out and spread the gospel. So it's like, well, I'd like to do it in a personable way, you know?
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to set an example of. But
so that is a good point. So when you say we as like the parish, I assume, or like as
so it's not
as a
it's
believer.
not a Catholic church, it's a Protestant.
Okay.
You know, but yeah.
But as the followers of the church, you're supposed to sort of like spread the word, and
it's something they talk about all the time, but not too many people. I don't hear about too many people doing it. You know, because Christians have become afraid of really talking about religion in public.
I don't know. I think like especially in the U.S., it's like because of both like Europe and the U.S. I think in the U.S. it's much bigger than in Europe at all, like in general.
Well, yeah. Now we do have like the Bible Belt. You know, you've heard of that.
Yeah.
But even there, like I've actually talked to people. So in the Bible Belt, what that kind of means is you're kind of expected to be a Christian.
Right.
So in other words, so within Christianity, Jesus talks about you must be born again. So it's an individual thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And what it is, it's like in the same way that you were born physically, you need to be born spiritually. So your spirit comes alive.
Right.
And so just saying I'm a Christian, I was born into a Christian family, I live in a Christian nation, whatever, like we don't consider, you know, like Jesus wouldn't consider that Christian. Just because you call yourself something doesn't mean you are, right? So in the Bible Belt, and I've done this sort of thing in, you know, like much more churchy areas, I've met a lot of people who are actually offended if I even imply that, are you a Christian or whatever. It's like, no, of course I am, you know, I'm American, whatever, you know, so.
Yeah, it's funny.
So, it has become kind of tied in with our national identity, but now it's less and less to the point where it used to be, and the way I'll explain it is, I feel like there was a time when a third of the people were like really strong, convicted Christians.
Yes.
A third were maybe like really strong secularists, atheists, or maybe another religion.
Right.
The middle third was like, well, I'm Christian, but whatever, right? Like it's like just by default I'm Christian. Now, I think the middle third is saying, I don't have anything to do with those Christians. They're kind of, you know, like they're looked down upon now. And so the middle third is going the other direction. So I think that's kind of the difference in our society.
I think that's a good point, by the way. And I think the overall, like, I think that's a global happening, is like the hard division between left and right, and Christian and non-Christian, and black and white.
Or even religious,
and,
non-religious.
Religious, non-religious, science, non-science. Like, science and flat earthers. I mean, that is just like an extreme example, but whatever. But it's always like, it's either this or that. There's no shading anymore. It's like 0 or 1, or like it's so extreme. Everything has to be extreme, and it's like, no, you tell me now, is it this or is it that?
Yeah, what's your label?
So exactly, and it's like, I think that's extremely sad because like so much gets lost.
Yeah.
It's not always like this or that.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Yeah. I don't want chocolate or vanilla. I want strawberry every once in a while.
And maybe that's the reason for these conversations, is I'm trying to show, hey, there's a lot of people with a lot of different stories.
Yeah.
I ask about people's history and how they got to wherever they're at, whatever doubts, whatever beliefs.
Right.
And people are, you know, every single person I talk to has a different story.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I've talked to hundreds now.
Oh, yeah, I can totally see. I totally understand that. And I mean, I have a lot of friends with like super different backgrounds. So many friends that all have like their own story, of course, but also different upbringings, backgrounds. Some come from like war-torn countries, and like some were just like born and raised in Winnetka, or you know, like and everything in between. And of course, there's all kinds of like very religious Muslim friends, like they're really following everything. And then I have like the ones that say like, yeah, I'm like, I guess I'm Christian, you know, like.
Yeah, and I've met people from other religions that are kind of the same way, like they grew up in Hindu or, you know, as a Hindu or whatever.
Yeah.
And they identify with it, but it's more of a cultural thing.
Yes.
Like I go to all the cultural events,
right?
You know, I might follow it, but I don't necessarily. So then I ask, well, what do you believe? I know you know what you're supposed to believe, but what do you personally believe?
That is a good. That is a good way of talking about it too. Is like, what do you personally believe? Well,
yeah, and so a lot of people who say they're Christian have come up with that and have never. Maybe they still consider themselves Christian, and they've never been. There's never any pushback as far as what do I believe personally. And I think there comes a point in a person's life when they kind of have to take ownership of their beliefs. So they grow up, they believe what their parents tell them they should believe, but then they have to decide, okay, what do I believe?
Or not.
Or not believe. And,
or not decide. And I think that's not a problem, but that's definitely a point in
like
human society that needs to like come maybe another baptism or whatever, you know, like what do you like, you gotta get baptized every 15 years to make sure that you're still in this.
Now, Dave, when you were growing up Catholic, you said you asked some questions.
Yeah.
Did you feel like those questions were welcome? Like,
yes,
like
they were.
Please ask questions. We want you. Oh, that's good.
Yes,
that's different than most Catholics I've met.
Yes, I know. I was extremely fortunate with is it priest or past priest? I think.
The priest. Yeah.
The priest. I never know because I have to translate that part because it's from my youth.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean.
From German into English.
So in English here, I mean, if it's a priest, we generally assume, oh, you must go to a Catholic church.
Right. So.
Or Orthodox. And then if it's,
that's right.
And then if it's Protestant, it's probably pastor.
Right.
Yeah.
So the priest.
Or the minister.
Oh, the minister, that's right.
Yeah.
I had two priests in my life growing up, and they were both extremely liberal and open for these questions.
Yeah.
Which was amazing to me, because I asked these questions, and I always thought, like, I'm going to be such a rebellion asking these questions.
Yeah.
But it totally not backfired, but it was well received.
Yeah.
And then I got really good answers, and I think they also, even then, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I have a very vivid memory of this, even they said like, hey, if this is not for you, that's also okay.
Yeah.
You know, that was something that my parents, for example, never said.
Okay.
I mean, not that they weren't.
They wanted you to believe, but they wanted to be your belief.
They were like, yeah, that's just what went down. You know, they were pretty easygoing about it, but they would never say like, oh, if you don't want to do it, that's also fine, especially at a young age.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, we're going to church every Sunday, and that's it. And that just kind of fizzled out later, and you know.
So it wasn't such a priority in your home growing up, like later on?
No.
Yeah.
No. Not at all.
I think most parents want to, like, say, raise their kids right, but then at a certain point they realize my kid's on his own now.
Right.
You know. So
I came fairly quickly. Oh, I'm sorry.
I can lighten up a little bit or whatever.
Right. It's like give them their Sundays back.
Yeah.
Because it is, as a child, you don't really care. That's just the truth. Like, I just didn't, I don't want to generalize. I'm going to say I didn't really care.
Yeah.
And then like, why do I have to get up early on Sunday and go to church? This is extremely annoying. And then the baseline of going to church is already like overshadowed of like something that you don't want to do. So you're less open to receiving whatever is taught to you, right?
So at this point, would you say, so you seem like a positive person who loves life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole thing about Christianity is eternal life. You know, you can have eternal life. I mean, that's not the whole thing, but I'm just saying, like,
part of it,
like there's that aspect of it that, you know, a guy walked up to Jesus and said, "What must I do to obtain eternal life?"
Right.
You know, like this was a question on people's minds, and it still is. Like so. So if you love life, why wouldn't you want more of it?
Right.
Would you want Christianity to be true, or there to be something else after we die, or there to actually be a God that actually a God that made you, but also a God that you're accountable to? You know?
Yeah. I think I have no interest in living forever.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I know that that's kind of counter to what I said with like I love life, so why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Like the logical next step would be like, okay, then you want to have this forever because you love it so much, right?
Yeah.
But it's also if I think about an eternal life in general, and I'm gonna do a little segue here. There was an episode. I hate to bring this up, but it was such an ingenious scene in a TV show.
Uh-huh.
Okay, just bear with me here for a second. In Star Trek, they land on X, Y, and Z planet, and there's this village, and there are people sitting there. They don't speak. They just sit there in their rocking chair, rocking back and forth.
Okay.
And they don't speak. It's a complete deserted, like in the middle of the desert, completely dry, completely untaken care of. Like it's just in disarray.
Yeah.
The people that live there just sit there. They don't talk to each other. They don't talk to anyone. They just stare into the distance. That's it. Okay. So of course they run around the planet, and then they figure out that these people live forever.
Okay.
Okay. So they live forever. So the reason why they're not talking is they already talked about everything.
Okay.
Truly everything, like everything.
Yeah.
It's like the theory of infinity, where you can have a monkey sitting on a, you know that one? You can have a monkey sitting on a typewriter, just hammering down on the typewriter, and if the monkey does that for infinity, he will write the full Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
At some point, without even knowing it. That's how infinite. Like, so, do I want eternal life? No, because then it makes it not worth it. Why would anything be worth it?
Yeah.
I'm here. Okay, I can do this now, or I can do it in 10,000 years. I know I'm still going to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's
almost like, but so I don't think you're saying it would be boring.
Oh, it would be extremely boring.
Yeah.
Like that.
So that would be
that's
a part
just
of
on
it.
top of it.
Okay. Yeah.
If there's no urgency, it's like a deadline, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have a deadline, you ain't gonna get it done. Like if you don't have to write your paper by Monday, you're not gonna get it done on Sunday night.
Yeah. So not having eternal life gives you more of like an urgency or appreciation for
it gives
this
me
life.
a lot more appreciation and a lot more pleasure with that, because I know I can, like, if I have a finite set amount of time, I have to make a conscious living decision what to do with my time at any point in my life.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, the time's wasted, and time is the most precious thing in the world.
Yeah.
And if you live forever, it's not.
Yeah.
Then it's the most useless thing in the world.
Right.
Then everything is upside down. You're like, okay.
However, those people that did fritter away their time and, procrastinated to the point where they didn't get anything done.
Right.
Once it's lights out, it won't matter.
That's right.
And either way.
Right. Either way, it doesn't matter.
So here's the Christian view.
Yes.
So what the Christian view says is that we'll be with our Creator, God, forever.
Right.
Or we'll be cast out, and actually not out of His presence, but in His anger. We'll be, we're either friends with God or have a good relation, righteous. We're right with God,
right,
or we're not right with God,
right?
And so there's a place of punishment, and
so commonly known as hell.
Hell. So I have a movie to share about that. But the difference with heaven and earth, like what this existence we're in right now, is God has allowed the forces of evil led by Satan, to reign or have a certain amount of freedom for a time. So that I, as a Christian, live in a world that's full of good, but also full of bad. And heaven and hell wouldn't have that. It would be totally good. Hell would be totally bad. See what I'm saying? So the current existence, the current life that I have, I have the opportunity to do things that I will never have again. So I still have that sense of urgency. I still have that sense of appreciation.
That's a good point.
Like for example, why does God allow evil in a world like this? because good things can happen that couldn't happen if it was totally good. Like shadows create opportunities.
That's right.
For
there's
bravery.
There's no
if
good.
There's no danger.
Evil.
There's
you need
no
the balance.
Yeah, and so our existence isn't what the Bible over and over again says. We don't exist for ourselves. We exist for our Creator. Everything was made for God and for His glory or His pleasure. So I have the opportunity of glorifying God or living for God in ways that I will never have again.
Right.
For example, according to the Christian belief now, there would be no unbelievers in heaven. They would be in hell, right? There would be. So I won't have the opportunity to have these kind of conversations anymore. If that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
Do I want to?
Not with me, for sure.
Or do I want to take advantage of this opportunity? Sure.
Right.
So the thing about hell is, so heaven and hell are described pretty vividly by Jesus in the Bible.
Yes.
Streets of gold, doesn't talk about angels playing harps, I don't think, but there's singing, there's worship of God, there's people living harmoniously, there's no crying, no pain, there's, it's described in wonderful terms.
Right.
Hell is horribly described, lake of fire, things like that. I don't necessarily, I guess I view these forms of existence as something that we just can't even imagine, to the point where we don't even have words for it, or images for it. So it's all imagery.
Right.
So I'm not saying that they don't exist or I don't believe in them, but all I know is heaven is a really good place that I want to be, and hell is not. And but here's my image of hell. Have you seen the Pirates of the Caribbean series?
I have.
You remember when, I forget his name, Jack Sparrow, the pirate, went to Davy Jones's locker, and he was down in this desert with these ships, and everyone on the ship is him, and he's stuck with himself, forever. Yeah. To me, that's hell. Yeah. That would be like.
I would have a blast.
I would have.
For real.
Yeah, no, he's going crazy because everyone is the same as him, and so it's like, okay, you want yourself, you got yourself. This is hell, So and then the whole thing about God not being boring, it's like the more we discover about this universe, and scientists are, there's no end to it. Yeah. Down on an intimate level, small level, or in the cosmos. Yeah. How much greater would the creator of all this be than his creation? So it's like, I don't think I can get bored with that kind of a God. The more we discover about his creation, his creation is like a reflection of the creator. Right. So the creativity, the endless.
I understand.
There would never be an end to.
That's right. But I don't know. Like if I think about eternity, that's something that's really unfathomable, right? Thinking about eternity. What is eternity? It's something that's absolutely unfathomable. If I tell you to envision 1 million miles, that's unfathomable. You can't envision that. That's impossible. It's almost very close to impossible. What is 1 million miles? What is even a year broken down in hours and seconds? Even that amount itself is not to be imagined because it's just too great for the normal brain to figure out what that actually
wrap our head around it.
So when I think about eternal life, then I'm probably more intimidated by that than by the idea that after I die, the lights just go out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I would say within the Bible and most religions, it's not really optional. I mean, as far as we can't just say, okay, do I want to go to heaven or do I want to go to hell, or do I want to just die and lights out?
Yeah, right. I mean, there's no evidence of what's really going to happen. So, if
other than what if we hold the Bible to be God's word, I mean, that would be not proof in a scientific way, but it definitely would be evidence. It's evidence, to me, evidence and proof are two different things. So maybe clues is another way to think about it. These are clues that help us to know what
clues of a belief, right?
Yeah.
I which ultimately means until I know, I can pick what I want to believe.
Yeah.
And then if I have the choice of what I want to believe, then it's like lights out, I'm gone, thank you very much, and my credit card debt is wiped out for the rest. You know? Yeah. Which is not important, but you know what I mean. It's like okay.
Do you think? So sounds like you studied theology, Christian theology, right?
No, it was general. It was just general.
So like world religion?
I mean, the first 2 semesters are very like broad, like looking at a lot of.
I would think that it should be. So I guess my question is, based on what you do know of the Bible, if you died today and it's and you wake up and you find out, oh, it's not lights out. I'm standing in front of my Creator and I'm being held to account. And heaven and hell are in the balance.
Yes.
Based on what you know, not necessarily what you believe, because you don't believe all this, but based on what you know about what the Bible teaches anyway, where would you end up? Where would you be? And I'm biased. I want to see you in heaven. So
of course.
Don't know you, but
I think I would be on parole in heaven.
Okay. So kind of like purgatory or something?
Yeah. Like, it was like, you're almost in, but we want to make sure we made the right decision for you to be in here.
You got to prove yourself.
You're like, exactly. You're a bit on the fringe of like, almost going down, but we believe in you.
Okay.
That you can do it. I think, like, you got to tally all of your good deeds and your sins together, and then
so it's kind of like a balance,
thumbs up, thumbs down kind of situation.
Yeah.
And I think I did pretty well so far in my life. So they would probably let me into the golden gates.
Yeah.
The pearly gates, I guess. If that's what was going to happen.
Well, let me give you a little good person test, okay?
Yes.
How many lies have you told in your life?
I don't know.
More than you remember?
Yeah, for sure.
More than you, probably could count them all, but more than you remember. How many lies would it take to be a liar?
One.
Yeah. So what the Bible says is no liars shall inherit the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, right.
Have you ever taken anything?
No.
So nothing that didn't belong to you, never downloaded something, never took credit for something that you didn't do?
No.
Never did personal business on the company?
No.
No. Okay, so you wouldn't be a thief.
That's right.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. I'm totally guilty of that. So
no, very, like, I don't want anybody to take my stuff, so I'm not taking anybody else's.
Right. Yeah.
It's just,
so I mean, I haven't lately, but I have in my life, and embarrassing to say, but when I did it, I knew it was wrong. It wasn't like I was so young I didn't know what I was doing. So I would be held accountable to that.
I mean,
and it says no thieves, no liars, no thieves, right?
Right.
Have you ever used God's name in vain? The Bible talks about. So it's not like you don't believe in God, but
yeah. Yes, I have.
Okay.
I would probably.
I mean, if you don't believe in God, it'd be like nothing. Just throw it around like it doesn't mean anything. Right?
That's right, which I did.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, or whatever.
Oh, all the time.
Okay. And that's part of our culture, but at the same time, like, once I started realizing, hey, this is serious. Like, it's not just like saying.
Oh, I'm fully aware of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fully aware of like, especially since I had to learn the language.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like way more.
It's going on all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of it.
I don't really say it. I never really said it, but I started to realize the movies I'm watching, everything I'm participating in, that's what they're doing all the time, using God's name disrespectfully. If it was my mother's name, I'd be like offended, but
Right. So my question is, so everything you're saying is in the Bible, and I understand that. So
really, right now, it's just I'm like looking at the Ten Commandments.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you follow those, that would be your ultimate ticket into heaven, right? Like if you don't ever mess up.
Yeah. So I'm condemned now because I've lied, I've stolen, I'm sure at some point I've used God's name in vain.
I'm pretty sure it's like slipped out somewhere.
Yeah. I've looked with lust, which Jesus said is the same as committing adultery, or committing it in your heart.
Right.
I've called someone a name in anger.
Oh, yeah.
Which Jesus said that's the same as murder. Like you're still hurting people with your words.
That's true.
Whether
That's true.
You're hurting them in spirit, even if it wasn't physically killing them. But So I'm guilty as charged. I think you would be guilty of not all of them, but the Bible actually says if you're guilty of one, if you've broken one, you've broken them all. That you're a lawbreaker, right?
Right, exactly. So my question is, so you've done it wrong once, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, any one of them.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, then, so now I'm in the category of a lawbreaker, and so God's justice would demand, and God's justice would. So we believe, like the Bible talks about, God is perfect in every one of His attributes, right?
Of course He is.
So His justice would be perfect. In other words, He doesn't just say, "Oh, boys will be boys, and we'll just sweep that under the rug." It's like, no, there is, murderers are guilty, but so are liars, so are thieves, so are adulterers, even at heart. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the Bible. And actually, a lot of people think Jesus was like the God of the Old Testament was really strict and harsh.
Yes.
Killed everybody.
That's right.
And that Jesus came along and He was like soft. He's actually the one who said, "Yeah, murder's wrong, but don't even hurt someone with your words." Like, that's more strict.
Right.
Adultery is wrong, but don't even look with lust. Like he actually expanded on it.
Right.
The thing about murder, He said, you would be guilty. You're in danger of the fire of hell, even for calling someone a bad name in anger.
Yeah.
So He was even more strict.
Yeah.
And so it's.
So the thing that it's like, okay, I can live that way, right? Where I'm like extremely careful about all of these things.
Yeah.
Right. But let's say in my non-believer life, right? If I do something wrong, in any of the
as a non-believer. Yeah.
Because they all come from somewhere, right? The ideas of like not killing someone is like a society that decided that it's wrong to kill each other, right?
Yeah. Well, we would say it came from God, but then God affected the society. Like God gave the Ten Commandments to Moses.
That's the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Conversation, right? You can be right, I can be right. We could both be wrong. We could both be right.
Yeah.
But that's where, for me, that's where it's coming from.
So actually, I'll tell you this: the Bible actually teaches that even before the Ten Commandments, people knew right from wrong, because it says when Adam and Eve first sinned against God, their eyes were open and they knew good from evil. And so from that point on, the Bible talks about man having God's law in his heart.
Yeah.
What that means is we all have a consciousness of good and evil.
Right.
We know right from wrong, and the universal problem of everybody is we break it.
Yeah.
Just knowing good from evil doesn't mean you keep it. It just means that you know it.
And I think here's where my idea comes in of like, okay, you can make it up with the person, right? You can say like, okay, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, what's happening in that case? Like on God's tally for my life, right?
Yeah.
Is that like crossed out, or like, no, you did it, you're wrong,
well, so let's say that you're standing for a judge, a human judge, but a judge.
Yep.
And you say, "Judge, I am really sorry. I know the family of the lady I killed is here in the courtroom." But,
okay, that's really extreme, but okay.
It helps to explain the point.
Yeah.
So, Judge, I just want to say I shouldn't have been driving drunk, and I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the judge looks at you and says, "I can tell you're sorry. Go ahead, you can go home." The family would say, "That's not justice, right? He deserves to be punished for what he did, So then you say, "Okay, Judge, I realize it's more than just being sorry. I'm so sorry that on my way to court today, I slammed my finger in a door, and I have suffered for what I've done." Right? The judge would look at you and say, "Well, justice doesn't belong to you. You can't decide what your punishment is,
right?
And slamming your finger in the door doesn't bring that woman back,
right?
You can't undo what you did."
Yes.
So,
no. Okay.
So then you say, "Okay, Judge, I realize that. How about I will you let me free, and I will come over to your house, or actually, I'll even go to the house of the people, the family, and I will clean up their litter and mow their lawn and, do all sorts of things for them, every week. And got to get going.
Yeah. This took way longer than I thought it would be, but it's
yeah,
interesting.
I'm sorry. I asked for 5 or 10 minutes, but yeah, I don't put a limit on it.
Sorry.
So,
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, we're not even standing.
Well, we were at it in the side.
Oh, it's right here.
Excuse us.
Oh, excuse me too. I'm sorry.
No worries. So just our understanding of justice, I guess what I'm getting at is so you could be sorry for what you did and apologize to the person, but the idea that there must be a consequence for law breaking. And as Christians, I mean, the Bible also says we're not sinning. Like, if I lie to you, you've told some lies in your life. It's one liar lying to another. I mean, that's wrong. I shouldn't do it. But I'm primarily breaking God's law because He's the one who made the law. So my primary offense is against God.
Yeah.
So now, so like, let's say we've got this balance scale, good and evil, right?
Right.
So on the evil side, man, I'm not doing so good because I shouldn't have done all these. So, and they're still there. No matter how sorry I am, I can't get rid of them. So on the good side, I think, okay, well, maybe if I do enough good, it'll get rid of them. But the good things we do, we ought to do. The Bible says
that's the standard.
That's the standard. So where I'm using the energy and the health and the money and the ability to make money, everything that God gave me to try to do good.
Right.
And I should do good. So it's not even on the scale. So now I'm like morally bankrupt.
Right.
And so that's what Christianity, that's the bad news of Christianity. Like the gospel is good news. The bad news is without God, without the Christian message, we are condemned. We are, we are headed for hell. That's, I mean, I can't say it I can't take the shock away or whatever the harshness of it. But the good news is it doesn't have to be that way. So the good news is so there must be a consequence.
Yes.
A punishment. The punishment must fit the crime.
Yes.
The crime is done against an eternally worthy God, so I'd have to do like an eternal punishment.
Yes.
So I guess that would be an eternity in hell, or someone of eternal worth and value could take my punishment for me. Okay? So the Christian message is that's what Jesus did.
Right.
God being eternally worthy and Him being God's Son would have that eternal worth and value. He takes my punishment in my place.
Right.
And so that's why I say...
That's why He died on the cross for us, right?
Yeah. And so to actually like take ownership of that is basically what being born again means. It's like, wow, you did that. It's like, okay, we can know it on an intellectual level, right? And it's like, it sounds kind of weird. But when we really internalize it, I don't know, and then that's to me, that's what the experience of being born again was like. God, you did that for me? Whoa,
Yeah, I still believe in. Okay, I'm pretty straightforward, saying like, okay, if I messed up, I'll go to hell.
Yeah. It's the noble thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, all right.
I'll be responsible for my.
You got me. I'll be responsible for my actions completely. I'll try to make it right.
So here's my answer to that. Here's my answer to that.
Yeah.
2,000 years ago, Jesus did this. Long before I was even. I'm not going to say God didn't think of me, but long before I ever existed, right?
Right.
So it's already. So it's almost like someone, like in that courtroom, someone sold their house, sold everything they have, and they paid your fine, right?
Right.
So then you say, well, Judge, I don't want them to pay my fine. Let me pay it myself. Well, I'll be paying, for eternity.
Right.
But they already paid it. They already made the sacrifice. So, yeah, it could be honorable for me to say, no, I'll take my own, I'll pay myself, thank you very much.
Right.
But the best way to honor that sacrifice is to receive it and then to live for him, So it's like,
no,
I don't owe anything.
like I don't agree with that.
Okay.
I just don't agree with that because, like, flat out, I'm extremely stubborn too.
Yeah.
I know that.
It's good to know that about yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm 100% aware of that. If I don't want it, I want it. Like, no. I don't want to. I don't want to owe you anything either.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no. I'm still over here. I'm good. You know, like I can deal. I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
One way or the other, I'll figure it out. Like if I have to sit in prison for like 25 years because I messed up, fine. I'll sit in prison for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna do really well in prison. I'm gonna get a 15 or something.
So we have this word in Christianity, it's called grace.
Yeah.
You've heard the song "Amazing Grace."
Yeah.
Well, that's what this is all about. It's like grace means an undeserved gift, right?
Yeah.
So if someone gives you a gift, and I'm sure you've gotten gifts from people.
Yeah, I'll always tell people, don't give me anything.
Don't give me anything, but, and people are imperfect, so it's like, okay, yeah, in Christmas, like, don't give me something, because then next Christmas I got to give you something, right?
Yeah, no, I just don't want to have any stuff.
Yeah.
That's my idea.
Yeah. The whole idea, though, with a gift is that it's the generosity of the giver, and he's just expressing that generosity to you, and you don't have to return it.
No.
That's what Christianity is. That's what I've received is God's grace, and to realize I don't owe God anything, but it's more like I want. I know I could never pay back the debt I owe, or the debt, I think of it as I owe.
Yeah.
I could never pay it back, but I want the privilege of trying, or at least expressing my gratitude.
Oh, sure.
That's what it's about, expressing our gratitude.
I understand that too, and I just wanted to add, like, on a gift that I didn't ask for.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right? That's a topic that's important to me, and I'm very upfront to everybody. It's like for my birthday, whatever. Don't give me anything. Please don't give me anything.
Yeah.
I have everything I need, and then some.
Yeah.
I don't need, like, really anything. I really don't need anything.
Yeah.
Very clear.
I know the feeling.
And if people still give me gifts, that's on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I don't feel bad about it either. I'm like, you gave me a gift because you felt bad about it.
Yeah.
Not because you wanted to give me them. You felt bad about not showing up with anything.
Yeah.
Because like you did that for yourself.
I think a big part of Christianity is coming to terms with that idea.
No.
Because you hear about Catholic guilt.
Exactly.
And
I don't want any of
and
that.
it's like, right. I get that. Yeah.
Hey, I gotta go.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure. I would shake your hand, but we're in a pandemic, so
exactly.
we're not gonna do that.
And I don't have a card. Would you like the YouTube address? I can just tell you and put it on your phone. All right. So
I can just put it in my